Hey guys, and welcome back to episode 21 of Front Boards and Four Baggers. I'm Eddie with Cornhole Bag Reviews, and we got Corbin with Corbin's Cornhole Reviews. Guest this week, we got another take in the cornhole world. We've been talking to a lot of pro players, but now we got the people, behind the bags, behind the Facebook posts, behind the events, the tents, all the stuff that you're seeing in the company-wise. We got the owners of Black Sheep Baggers. We got Alex and Doug. How you doing, guys?
Good, man. How about you?
Awesome. Really appreciate you guys joining us today to get another different vibe about, what goes on a little bit behind the scenes, because a lot of people, you see companies coming out of the woodwork right now, where are some of these struggles coming from? What's the person, what's made you guys so successful? Because I know you guys have been doing it for a little while, but kind of taking the world by storm in a sense in the last 6 to 8 months. You guys are really, really blown up, gotten a lot of popularity, you're getting a really big following now. And you got a couple new bags coming out, which we'll get into soon. So starting off here, where did this opportunity come up for you guys? Obviously you guys enjoyed playing bags and whatnot, but where did you kind of decide you wanted to take that into a company direction?
So basically, myself and Alex and about 10 other people were throwing at my house, Alex's house, and a couple other guys' houses, and we just wanted to come up with a cool shirt, to be honest with you. And came up with Black Sheep Baggers, got a design out, and from there, man, it kind of blew up. We sold shirts to 12 dudes at first, and went to a couple opens, and people started buying them. And at that point, Alex and I were having lunch one day, and it's like, hey, man, this may be a business, and kind of dove head first from there.
Where did the Black Sheep Baggers name come from? Is there a specific reference to it?
Us 12 guys, when you're playing cornhole, 3 days a week, your wives start thinking you're black sheep of the family. So it was just something that was natural, and it seemed like it was a really good name. I mean, I sent out a group text to all 12 of the guys with some different names and said, hey, y'all vote on this. Because like I say, we were just thinking this is going to be a local group. And
thought about Black Sheep Cornhole.
Yeah, we thought about Black Sheep Cornhole. We thought about, Emery Road Throwers. I mean,
Emery Road is the road we
all live on, basically.
So,
yeah.
And then
so from there, man, like I said, we all settled on Black Sheep Baggers. I went and met with a designer and got the logo designed. And like I said, I think I made 40 T-shirts and hoodies. Yeah. To get to the 12 guys. And then, like I said, it just kind of, we were at local blind draws and people saw them and then they wanted them. So we started selling them there. And then, like I say, went to the Louisville Open and Louisville Conference.
Started running local events.
Yeah.
We got a local Moose Lodge and started hosting tournaments and going live. And
it just kind of blew up.
Yep.
That's awesome.
Started as an apparel company. And then Doug, he wanted to name it Black Sheep Cornhole. And then everybody decided to do Black Sheep Baggers, and then we yeah. I mean, and I think Black Sheep Baggers rolls off the tongue really well. It's one of my favorite names. Just in general, it sounds really, really good. But so you guys met just playing low, or did you guys know each other before these bags events or anything? You just met in this group? I met Doug through my brother-in-law. I went over to my brother-in-law invited me. He said, hey, I actually met you first at a liquor store.
Yeah. I met him at a liquor store.
I was with my brother-in-law. He wanted to buy some liquor, and I met Doug first, and then he was like, hey, you met Doug? You want to go over to Doug's house? And I was like, all right, yeah, I'll go over there. And then we wanted to play some cornhole, and Doug was all about, he was more into cornhole than I was. I'll say that. He was more into cornhole than I was. And we went over his house. We ended up setting up some boards, playing some cornhole, and then it turned into a thing. We played it in my driveway. We played it in his driveway. We played in each other's yards. And then me and Doug kind of, I guess you would say, we followed a dream.
Sure.
I would say. And then we believed in the brand, and we just kept pushing forward. So.
And then with the bags then, so if you guys started as an apparel company, local group kind of thing, I mean, was it more of a I'm throwing bags and I just want to throw my own bag, I can make a better bag? Or was it more so I just see this as a business and that's the next step in the business? How did you transfer from apparel to bags?
It's actually a funny story. Someone in the ACL reached out to us and said that the logo would look really good on bags. And I remember I told Alex, I was like, well, hey, let's make some co-branded stuff with 30 bags. And we made some bags, just some all slides and game changers. And
they sold out.
They sold out in like an hour. And, nice. And we had about 50 sets, I believe. And it was like, man, I can't believe
what's going on here.
Yeah. What are we doing, Yep. And then the natural progression came to, there may be a viable business. So let's try to see what we have to do to figure it out, because like I said, we didn't know material. We knew resin was in it, but it's like, that's just the cornhole bag. That's the fast side. That's the slow side, like everybody when they first start. So we just kind of went head first in it. And buying bags, cutting open bags, looking at inside of materials. And then, obviously
when I first met Doug, he had a lot of cornhole bags.
Yeah. I don't know if it was an addiction or maybe it was a precursor to, hey, we're going to run with something different.
He didn't have any good boards. I'll say that.
Yeah,
he had more money in bags than he did boards.
Yeah. Because, and so, like I said, we kind of just figured it out and flattery and imitation is, a good thing. So we started seeing what bags are selling, what are they doing? What's the downfall in some of those bags? And we just said, well, hey, if we do it this way and this material stretches or this material does this after 200 throws, how can we improve on that from the 200th throw? It almost feels like the 50th throw.
Sure.
And that's kind of how we got into it, man. To be quite honest with you, we
felt like we could make something better than it was before.
Yeah.
Not calling out any other companies or anything like that, but we felt like we can make something better.
Yeah. And I love the story of this will look good on bags.
Yeah. That's literally, somebody reached out and was like, hey man, this would look really good on a bag.
Yeah.
And Alex and I at this point were talking, 50 times a day trying to figure out what the next steps were. And we were like, well, heck, let's do it. Let's see if we can do it, and go from there and see, and like I say, co-branding was easy at first. We put the money up and then, got it back. And then from there, we took that money and invested in other avenues to try to get, other things in place. Our first bag was our Costello. And before it was pre-stamped, it sold great, as far as a non-stamp bag.
Yeah.
First design wasn't my favorite, but it's actually one of my favorites now. So honestly, looking back at it, yeah. Here, I'll show you. Here, look.
That was the original Black Sheep Baggers logo.
Oh wow.
This is LD's idea right here.
Yeah.
To split it. And yeah, that happened for not too very long.
I don't mind it.
It's called growing pains, man.
It's called growing pains.
hey, my pre-stamp Costellos, everybody knows those are my babies, that's what I throw, man.
Once we reverted back to the original logo, which is what, went on it.
Which is what was on all our apparel. We just felt like when it was on a bag at first, this might be the route to go, but the route to go is the original.
Well, and I guess that kind of ties into a little bit into the next question, which was like, so what was the hardest part when you guys were starting off? Was it just cash flow? Was it trying to understand the business? Was it like, just understanding investing? What was the hardest part? Like, because you guys kind of got in when it wasn't like, nowadays, it's not that it's still uncharted waters, but like companies are showing up now with like good bags now because all the materials, a lot of people, there's more information out there. So when you guys were starting off, like, what was kind of that learning the ropes process? And what was
we felt like we were late to the game.
Yeah, we felt like we were late. We used to have talks all the time and said we had to have the infrastructure set up before we went to mainstream.
Mm-hmm.
Because we were hearing, back when we got into it, the complaint was, hey, it's 6-8 months to get bags, 6 weeks to get bags. And it was like, hey, we need to have stuff in place to where we can handle. And we had no clue what the demand would be, but we wanted to at least be able to say, hey, we're in place to handle a certain amount of bag production. And then our second focus was, obviously customer service, and the biggest hurdle though was literally, at first there's a lot of people that want to help you, but they have alternative motives.
Yeah.
And so it's navigating that, once we found a good support system of pros and people in the cornhole game, I mean,
it definitely wasn't just us.
Yeah.
It definitely wasn't just us.
Yeah, it was easy selling, from there.
There's people we met that helped.
Oh yeah,
become Black Sheep what it is today.
Sure. I mean, me and Corey talk about that. We talk about that all the time. Is like even when we were starting off, like there's people that reach out, like they want to help you, but then all of a sudden you figure out it's like, oh well, you're just doing this for your gain, right? And then we've met obviously all these people on the other side of the coin, you guys in particular too. That's just been like, and I tell people this all the time. As this game grows, the relationships are going to matter way more than the money does right now. Because the money's gonna come. I mean, this is going somewhere, right? Where it's like, if you have the relationships in place, like that's what's going to benefit you, like not this quick, easy turnaround stuff that's going on right now and that kind of thing. So, but I guess that you guys have it figured out. And now you have, so you've been rocking the Black Sheep and the Costello for a good amount of time now. It's really both those bags have been awesome. But now you're transitioning it. Well, and you've had the OG, but now we're transitioning into, you have the OG2 now, which is, the same fast side, but a new carpet, more of a hybrid carpet. And then you got the Vandalize, which just dropped this morning at midnight and stuff. But 2 new bags for 2022, which is, a huge, awesome step, new stamp and everything. And I'll let Corbin take these. Corbin's obviously OG2 has become his baby. He texts me every day. He texts me every day, and he's like, oh man, the OG2, man, the OG2. And I'm like, stop making me feel so bad. I understand you like the damn OG2.
There's a reason it came out. There's a reason.
Yeah. But Corbin, why don't you take the bags?
I absolutely love this bag. I mean, it's anyone that's seen it on Facebook or talks to me, fairly regularly knows. I mean, they're ridiculous. We'll get into stats in a sec, but. Custom set, beautiful. You guys do great work just overall. Love the fast side on them. Slow side is even better. Honestly, it's a huge improvement over the regular OG, and that's exactly what I wanted. This just launched, was it 2 weeks ago?
Basically March 1st.
Yeah.
Okay, so only a week ago.
We brought them with us to Kansas City.
Yeah.
Kansas City Open.
Okay. Yep. So they've been out about a week. They are 4.8 speeds. You got 80 plus shipping on the website. It's the same fast side that we all know and love from Black Sheep, and the slow side is brand new to you guys, and you guys crushed it. I mean, this bag, I talked to Alex earlier today, and he was like, really, like that good? I'm like, no, really, like that good.
Trust me, he texted me about
those prototypes in Louisville, didn't you, Corbin?
What was that?
I had to make sure before we dropped it, you had to throw the prototypes and several other.
He wanted to steal them. He's like, I'm not giving.
I told Alex in Louisville. I said, I don't want to give these back, dude. You can chase me down. You can knock me over. Hang on, babe. You can do whatever you got to do. I wanted those bags. I was throwing. I'm like, yeah, it's pretty good carpet. Kind of slow and tacky. Can you please hang on?
I'm kind of jealous how those customs turned out, Corbin.
Dude, they're sick. They are sick. I mean, I
like our splatters we got, but those are
me and splatters though.
Yeah, hey, we got a lot of Black Sheep customs on this shelf. We got Corbin's and mine.
We do.
So.
But yeah, I mean, I threw these in Louisville, and I was like, the collects I was making, they airmail effortlessly. They'll cut, roll, flop. It's just
a little bit. You weren't really missing a whole lot, Corbin.
I didn't miss a lot that game. I did not miss a lot that game. I absolutely love them.
I think
I don't know what else to say about it. Honestly, I love this bag.
Yeah, and what I was going to say about it too is like, so the carpet is like, it's I don't like to just say, oh, this carpet. There's so many carpets, but I would say it's fairly similar to like a Neptune, some of that denser carpet. But because you guys got that a little bit bigger template, nice disc fill, it's almost like you could still do the active stuff you want to do with it without becoming this whole clogging bouncy ball. It's like you're kind of in that really nice sweet spot where, okay, it plays like a carpet bag. It can do the things a carpet bag needs to do without sacrificing like pure like bouncing, rolling, like crazy kicking on you kind of stuff.
And it's not a bouncy ball that just hangs up everywhere. I mean, you get this thing pretty close to the hole. It wants to go.
Which is a tough thing to balance with carpet we're seeing now. It's just like, it's really hard to find that sweet spot where the pros are still able to manipulate it. They want to manipulate it without, just losing all hole friendliness or just becoming a pillow constantly. So, everything we've talked about is just he's been blown away by the sneaking bags.
I just rant and rave on them. Honestly, I really do. I like them that much.
Hey, so anybody out there who's tried the original OGs and they weren't a fan maybe of that carpet, or they thought it a little too flat, like whatever it is, don't write off the OG2. It's not just like we just revamped the design or something. It's basically a new bag. I mean, like the way that it just feels and plays is very, very good and worth people trying out, giving it another try if you weren't a fan of the original OGs for sure.
There's a few upset people that like the original OG. I'll say that.
Oh, I was the opposite. I wanted that
everybody
away.
that got him loved him, man. I'm telling you.
Oh well, they're great once you get that carpet broken in, man.
It just takes forever. It takes a little bit.
It was so hard.
Yeah. But
I got a message today from a guy that just got his OG2s yesterday and went to a blind draw, and he sends me a message and he says, I literally won the blind draw without breaking them in. I just started throwing them, and me and my partner, he said, I can't believe there's no kick, and I was able to play with them that way. And that was our biggest thing with OG2 or OG1, was customer A bought them and hated them because I threw them for 6 weeks and it didn't break in well.
Yeah.
But customer 2, who, bought it off the secondary market, already had a 6 month or 6 week head start. He loved them after 6 weeks because they hit that honey hole.
Mm-hmm.
But you know how the society we live in now, it's instant gratification.
Oh yeah.
Oh, they want it now.
Yeah, and so
it feels good right when you get them.
Yeah, and so when that guy sent that message, I was like, we did what we wanted to do, which was get it in the hands, start throwing it, and you can go out and not get it clogged up or anything like that. So
we tested a lot of different carpet materials.
Yes, we did.
Yeah.
And that's actually a really good segue into the next bag, the Vandalize, because in the world of instant gratification, this bag breaks in fast as hell because these materials.
This bag gives it
awesome.
to you.
Oh yeah, like
it's that Vandalize is probably the best bag out of the box without throwing.
Those
100%.
The materials are so soft and so just like enjoyable to throw. I mean, I tell Corbin all the time, I think this slow side material is going to be this year's surefire material. I think it's just too good not to blow up in the way that it's starting to blow up. And I think you guys are in at the fairly beginning stages of companies to use the material. And I just think it's everyone's going to have to follow suit because I think it's just going to become that next step up kind of material kind of thing. But Corbin, what's your we'll go into little stats on the Vandalize. So you guys just launched these this morning. Go ahead, Corbin.
Yes, sir.
Yep, they just launched midnight. I call them a 6'8". You guys can call them a 6'9". Whatever.
It's the same fat side as the other bag, so you can call it what you want. Yeah.
I'm calling it 6'8". Ridiculously hole friendly, ridiculously easy to throw right out of the box, and I hate throwing a bag brand new. I just don't like to do it. I would have no problem getting these brand new and throwing them in a tournament without putting a single game on them. These things are ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
Nice and floppy. Same price point as everything else. 80 plus shipping on the site. Your designs on this, big old thumbs up there. All your designs are ridiculously cool. I love all those. I think it's a great bag. Eddie, I think you're actually really going to like this bag.
The name behind it. What about the name behind it?
Oh, yeah.
What about the name behind it? Tell me.
Graffiti that kitchen real quick. Let's take a picture. That's going to be on the next bag.
Graffiti the kitchen.
I can do it for us. So screenshot, go ahead.
So I know we've talked a little bit about the Costello.
Punch a hole through that wall, Corbin.
I know we've talked a bit about the Costello name that was like one of your idea in the Blackwater, because you originally which we can get into that. That's a cool story. But where does the name from Vandalize come from?
So, I'm a firm believer of giving credit where credit's due. Alex came up with the design work, the graffiti background prior to us really naming the bag. And once we saw that, then it goes into, as far as the naming a bag, I mean, we look at it as almost like an art form, because what's going to symbolize that bag's design work more than anything.
Yeah.
And we had another name that we were going to use. And then we realized that somebody else already had that name out there, and we're not all about, taking anybody else's names or anything like that. And I
like Vandalize better.
Yeah. And one day Alex is like, what about Vandalize? And with design work, I don't care to tell you, when Alex calls, he's like, hey, I need your help on something. I'm like, I don't care. Do it. I trust you. Because that's he's really good at that. He's like, I don't second guess any of that. So when he said Vandalize, I'm like, let's run with it. And then you start seeing proofs come in, and it's like, you nailed it. It's exactly what we needed.
Yep. Sometimes I always want to reach out to him just for the, what do you think about this? And then he always tells me, I'm like, I just want you. I want you something. Give me something,
Yeah.
Give me something. But usually it's just like we just run with it. So
after 18 months, the something is, I trust you, run with
it. So
hey, we already got the next bag name, by the way.
Oh, there you go.
We were driving back from Kansas City Open and
had a little conversation.
Sometimes
sometimes the juices.
Sometimes we talk about something and we say something, and he's like, maybe he'll be like, "I'll run with that," and I'm like, "All right, I'll sleep on it," and then come back the next day.
Sleep on it.
Like, you know what? I'll call him. I'll be like, "That's going to work." So.
Yeah. Well,
that's the next name.
So my thought, because obviously I know, at least Alex, I've talked to you a lot, that like you guys test out a lot of materials. You really put thought into what you do before you do it. It's not just like, oh, this one's popular, we're going to use it kind of thing.
Yeah.
So like obviously you got the Blackwater, which is like, you know, similar materials to the World of the Surefire. Everyone's got one. Then you got the Costello, which is kind of in the realm of the Pro Sniper Speeds kind of realm. So like when you were designing this bag or like trying out the materials, what was your goal with the Vandalize? Did you want it to fit in between? Like, what kind of player was this bag designed for when you were trying the materials?
I'd say we gave it two. We had prototypes, and we let top players that are better than us throw them and see what they thought about it. So we had a couple of different prototypes. What I felt like was a bag to come out with, what Doug felt like was a bag to come out with, and threw them together and let some top level players see what they are and give us their honest opinion and what. Maybe it was our players that really made the Vandalize come out before the next one.
Yeah.
Before the next one's going to come out.
And, you know, so we always try to balance the backyard thrower and the open player. And some of the feedback we were getting was, you know, at opens, anybody that's been to an open, by Saturday afternoon, the boards you might as well be throwing on glue.
Oh, they're glue.
Heard, yeah.
And
you got to flip to the fast side.
And so we needed something that was, you know, controllable but fast on the slow side to get through some of that issues that, you know, higher level players were throwing. But then as far as a backyard thrower, we needed to have something that was going to be hole friendly enough because it was going to play a tad bit faster than like a lot of backyard throwers like. Mm-hmm. But if you can get it close to the hole, it's going in the hole. Mm-hmm. And so, you know, it's kind of a balance of, hey, let's get something that the guy that's buying his first $80 set of bags can throw and be like, yeah, they're going in the hole. Yep. And then, but also, you know, as far as, you know, everything is obviously slanted, you know, a lot of times to the pro player because that's, you know, that's where we invest money and stuff like that too. And so, you know, you take those matrices from opens and that's kind of how we came up with that bag. Nice. It just seemed to be the best overall fit for our fourth bag. Like I said, we've got a bag that's going to come out next August that
it's more of a control bag.
It's more of a control bag. Yeah. And so, but we thought at this time this was the one to drop.
Yeah, at this time, yeah. A lot of new players like faster bags.
Oh yeah.
And then and if you get to a certain level, you like to get in that block and replace game.
Oh yeah.
And a low hard throw is better, and a lot of top level players have a low hard throw, and you got to get people to miss. And block and replace is slower bags.
Oh yeah, and
you just want to go in. Faster bags. So
I've talked to a lot of companies too that because of the if you guys don't know, listening, the stamping periods are like, you know, March 1st area, what we have right now, and then the August timeframe, which August is when the 22, 23 stamps will come out for next year. But when, at least for my area, I always say that springtime is high humidity and fall time is low humidity, right? Yep. So I was talking to people, they're like, oh, what should I come out with for the March stamping? And I was like, honestly, a faster bag's, in my opinion, better time for the March because more people are going to be throwing on sticky conditions for the next 4 months. So like they're going to be looking for that faster bag. And you get to August, winds pick up, it's fall time, you're looking for a bag that can handle fast boards. So I definitely think there is some ideas into when to release a bag too, just what's going to be popular right now and hopefully right at the beginning that sells for you well, you know.
And we always, the fast side we do use for, I'd say some of our bags, I would say is a good for all conditions. If you feel like
it really is.
If you feel like humidity's bad and boards are playing tacky, slow, whatever you want to call it, flip over and you're good to go.
Oh yeah, that fast side. I mean, it's popular for a reason. It's the same speed whether it's a glue stick or the boards are fast. Like it's just it does what it's supposed to do all the time, and that's what a fast side, in my opinion, should be doing. Is
that's basically like our whole point is to have a bag for every type of thrower.
Yeah.
And no matter where they're at, because some people change. Sometimes they want to throw a slower bag. Sometimes, but we want a bag for every type of thrower there is. Whether they want the bag to do the work, whether they want to throw hard. And
I feel
that's where we try to hit. We don't want a player that's like backyard or a pro level player that we don't have a type of bag that could fit them for the conditions they need during an event, you know. And if they want to change it, we want it to be there right for them, you know. So
and I feel like we're definitely getting to a time now, at least with you guys, for example, right, with Blackwater, OG2, Costello, and now Vandalize, like you almost do have a repertoire for every thrower, right? So now when you're coming out with another bag, it's very now kind of, you're finding these little niche areas where it's like, all right, a player's looking for maybe a slightly slower push side rather than always all the fast side, or maybe a slightly tackier slow. But like I say, your guys' repertoire now kind of finalizes basically like you got like from slow to fast with little ticks in between. That's a lot really easy to transition. And I like the fact that all your bags are the same template where it's like it's very easy to move between the two. Like I can switch from Blackwaters to now Vandalize to Costellos, and it's not like mentally I'm switching too much. You know, it's especially, and you know, a lot of people might think it's weird to use the same fast side on most of the bags. In my opinion, it's like, well, if your thumb's used to holding that fast side, you don't ever have to change it. It's just the same thing every single time.
We feel like it's the best fast side for.
Oh yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
there's a reason why we did what we did, and maybe that fast side on some bags were too fast, and there's no point.
Yeah.
So
no, I agree. I think it's the best fast side that exists. Personally.
Yeah, I was literally just gonna say, like, yeah, absolutely. It's
we did our homework.
Don't need faster.
Oh, yeah.
You don't need anything faster than this.
You're never going to use that side if it's too fast. You're never going to use it.
No, I've thrown Blackwater fast side in the pouring rain. Like, I mean, like, it's just like, why do I need a faster bag? It's like, you know.
Exactly.
And speaking of that, so, I mean, we won't go into the stats of Blackwater Costello because we've talked about it numerous times, but I want to make sure that we touch on them because they're just, I mean, both amazing bags. Everyone knows I would say I probably sell more Costellos locally than I do Blackwaters just because I think the Costello is I mean, that's my go-to bag in that speed range. Like, everyone's known that from the beginning. And Corbin, too, that's his go-to bag when he plays with someone who maybe doesn't have the flattest throw with his carpet bags that can throw a nice forgiving bag. It's just stupid easy to throw. But both bags have been very successful. Like, is there something you think's attributed to the success? Do you think it's the research you went in, just the pro? I mean, do you guys think I mean, it's just the work went into it is why it's done so well, or the marketing, or where do you think kind of the Costello came from, Blackwater came from for success?
I would say designs first off. Maybe some people got it in their hands because of designs, and then I would say once they got it in their hands, they felt like kind of like you, Eddie, and Corbin, because we didn't know Corbin. We sent him a set of pre-stamped Costellos.
I still remember that.
He was like, and
he has my Costellos.
A set of pre-stamped Costellos,
the orange ones.
And he said,
it was Costello, Blackwater, and OG, and I pulled them out. I was like, I mean, I think I know these materials. They look pretty cool. Let's see. Started throwing. I was like, okay, they're onto something.
I think one of the reasons why those bags, it's almost like, you eat with your eyes first. So, I mean, I think you have to start with designs.
Yeah.
And
100%.
Something that catches someone's eye, they may buy it just because I really love that color or I really love that design.
Or it goes back to the logo. They like the logo.
But I'll
also go back to that.
But I also think the main thing is our customer service.
Yeah.
I really do. I mean, I think that got us very early on in a good place that, we don't have a customer service person answering our emails. It's myself or Alex.
Yep.
We answer every email.
Email, Facebook messages.
Yeah, we handle all of that because, I mean, we have a standard for our customer service that we don't want to lack. So I think that's a big part of it. I mean, once people saw it was a quality product, and then, if there was an issue, we stood behind it. And, that's when people started saying, hey, try this bag to, their buddy. And I think that's, attributed to a lot of our success as well.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And I think we talk to companies all the time, and we've said this I say this on the podcast literally all the time is, cool, like people like cool bags. Because I would say 90% of the player base isn't good enough to know the difference between this and this and this on a daily basis the way that we do with all the stuff. But I mean, there's a reason, like if I made a shelf, I'm not putting all blank yellow suede on a shelf, right? I mean, like, it's got to have something that draws your eyes. And like, I mean, and I think what you guys have done probably one of the best, if not the best, over the last 6-8 months, at least since I've been in it, is you're always having a limited drop, something coming out. You're coming out with a new colorway or something that's like, it's like, oh man, like I already own Costello's, but shit, I got to get Corbin. Shit, I got to get this next drop. Man,
sure.
They finally came out with the Miami Dolphins colorway, the Dallas colorway. You know, it's just all these things where it's like you're keeping the repeat customers and they stay loyal. And I think the customer service goes to the brand loyalty. I think you guys have really high brand loyalty. And I think people, once they try the bags, don't leave the bags.
If there's any two people that believe in the brand of Black Sheep Baggers, it's us two for sure.
Or maybe me and Corbin.
Y'all might have a speed. I don't
know. But so the inspiration, I think, Alex, I was talking to you one time about Blackwater, because I think you told me originally, being from, because you guys are Knoxville, right? Being from Knoxville, you really originally you thought the Firewater because of the
we thought about like something, you know, people like it's a drinking game, right? Cornhole.
Yeah, I was just gonna say whiskey, right?
Yeah.
So we thought about Firewater, and then we're in the office, and he said, "What about Blackwater?" I'll give Doug credit on that one.
Yeah,
there it is.
But there was a lot of names before that. Then we're like, hey, and there's a lot of reasons. Every name of a bag that we come out with, there's a design reason behind it, or there's something. It's not just there's something behind it. Whether it's all the names you can.
Naming a bag is almost as important as the design, because you need it to roll off the customer's tongue. You know, there's some bags out there that I can't tell you what the name of it is, you know, because it's so crazy and you know, it's like got 14 different acronyms and so forth and so on. I mean, it just needs to hit it, and then, you know, the design behind it needs to fall right into it, you know, and I think that's something that we do, you know, really well is that aspect of it. And that may come from like our backgrounds prior to this.
Yeah.
You know, we kind of look at stuff a little bit different.
Me and Doug both are very different.
Yeah.
We are different in the same aspects, but we kind of have the same goal, but he looks at things different than I do. And I look at things different than he does. And it's good.
I think another big important piece to having a good name for what you're saying is that it doesn't lock you in a bubble in terms of like, you can do collabs where you can slap Blackwater on it with like the Halloween designs you guys did. Like the Blackwater didn't take away from the fact that you could do whatever the hell Halloween design you wanted to do. You know, it wasn't like you were just locked into this little bubble where you can't do anything with it, which I think all your bags have done an easy job of transitioning to any design you really want to touch on. Speaking of that, your anyone who hasn't seen their St. Patrick's Day designs, they're sick and should really check them out. They are cool. Because they're really, really cool.
They are cool as hell.
But and what do you think so far, as you've kind of been growing a lot, like what do you think's been the best and the worst parts of kind of becoming like a household name, like in the bag? I mean, like you guys, I mean, there's obviously you got the all Cornholes, the Ultras, the Reynolds, like, you know, whatever. But I mean, I think you guys are right in that upper echelon of companies now. And I mean, where do you think that's been a benefit and maybe been difficult?
I think, this is just my personal opinion. The benefit is,
I feel like we're still smaller than
I mean, we still talk about this all the time.
It blows our mind.
We
as
think
much as it might blow y'all's.
We think we're, you know, I estimate 12 to 15% of the marketplace is what I kind of always estimate right now. But I think the biggest thing is once we got a little bigger, it was easier for us to pick people's brains, you know, other pros that don't throw our bags because they see that, you know, we're doing it, you know, the right way. And so they know we're not a fly by night company and all this other stuff. So it opens up a lot of doors there to help us grow, you know. And I think the biggest thing, and Alex and I talk about this all the time, is that the biggest obstacle you have is, and, you know, this may ruffle feathers, but it is what it is, you know. A lot of people that you thought was your supporters are not your supporters. You know, they instantly, for whatever reason, I don't want to use the word jealousy or anything like that, but it's like, you know, there's a couple fan bases out there with bag manufacturers that do really well of supporting their local bag manufacturer. And there's some that don't, you know, and that's just the fact of the matter. And, But the like I say, the beauty of it is the positive of, like I say, opening up so many doors, like to pick your guys' brains or to call a Seto Soto or Eric Anderson and say, hey, I have a question. And them take that call and take the time to say, yeah, this is what I think, or this is, or an Eric Ryder, Cam Presley, to where we can get that knowledge that we need. And so I think that's the biggest, is that it's easier to walk through those doors now because they're not necessarily just locked.
Sure.
All right. So on the business side of things, like you guys are both full-time on this.
Yeah.
So what was the biggest surprise that hit you guys when you switched to like the full-time bag making?
Well, I think that the biggest thing, is the first thing that pops in your head is, we set metrics as this is what we needed to do to make sure that we could do this and do that and do that. And then so once we hit it, number one, we hit it a lot faster than we thought we were going to hit it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, if anybody's talked to us, everybody knows that we're supposed to not even be pro stamped until next year. That was our time frame. We were going to go a year non-stamped and then go into the game.
Yep.
So
how'd that work out?
Yeah, now you have proteins.
So when you start, so then you expedite that up by a year, basically. Yep. Everything else just kind of comes. And with anything, I've got a family. Alex has, a family and a mortgage and how's the bills going to get paid? So initially that stress of, oh my goodness, what's going on or how this is going to work. But once you get over that initial fear factor, I guess is the best way of saying it. I mean, and you put all your energy in not to worrying about what's going to happen, but focus on the next project or focus on the next meeting. It just gets so much easier. I mean, it's just second nature. I mean, I've got 2 kids. I can spend a lot more time with my kids. I can spend a lot more time with my wife, than we did before. And so, I mean, it's been a godsend for me, and I'm sure the same way with Alex.
Yeah, for sure. We get to do what we love every day. That's what we get to do. What
I tell people,
we're proud. We're proud. Yeah. We're proud of what we've done.
I tell people it opens all the time. They say, "How your day going?" I'm like, "Man, I could be a lot worse job right
Absolutely.
now." You know what I mean? This could be a lot
you said
worse.
that to me.
Yeah, I did exactly. I'm like, "Hey, man, it could be a lot worse." We're
he says that quite often.
Yeah,
that's true though. I mean, you're doing what you want for a living. I mean, you're living your dream. You're living your passion. It could be so much worse. Absolutely.
A lot of people that are
sometimes you have chances in life and just gotta go with it.
Yeah, well, that in Cornhole, I mean, dude, like, you guys are growing crazy fast. I mean, like, I don't think me and Corbin would think that we'd be sitting here talking to you guys on YouTube, like 8 months ago. It's just like everything is just in Cornhole just blowing up rapidly. But I'm glad that you guys were able to at least, like, see the opportunity to be like, all right, let's do it, because I think I can't imagine if you guys weren't stamped till August, like, the last 8 months.
It was about 15 days before.
Yeah, it was about 15 days before everything had to be turned in, and we finally.
We're like, all right, let's roll with it. Let's do it. We look at each other now, and we're glad we did it.
Yeah,
for sure.
Well, not only that, but the application. There's so many applications now. It's even harder to because I've talked to Alex that you guys have a good relationship with the ACL and like all that stuff that's been built. It's like a company getting in even 6 months later, 8 months later, the stamping game. I mean, it's way different than it was last summer in terms of just the amount of people that want to get in and how big the sport has even grown in 8 months. It's just so. I mean, the timing for you guys was you might have been a little late to the game. Some of these big players, but I mean, you weren't too late. Let's put it that way.
Yeah,
we felt
you guys came in a good time.
Felt we were. But we felt we were. But we came. Yeah, it's growing. It's going to keep growing. It's great.
I think you came in at the right time. You guys did it, and I'm glad that you did push for the stamp early. Because I think that's a big part of a lot of throwers.
We wanted to, but we didn't know if we were ready yet, and then.
Oh no, you're ready.
Now you're ready.
I mean, like
you were ready.
The fear was always, do we have the infrastructure in place? I mean, we knew we wasn't going to blow up overnight, but it's like we don't want people. The first thing people start saying is, "Why does it take 6 weeks to get my bag?"
Yeah, we didn't want that. We wanted to make sure we were all right. Yeah, and not have customers disappointed, and we didn't want to go there. We didn't want to do it the right way. And,
exactly.
So
that's a nice segue into my next point here.
Yeah.
I don't mean to interrupt you, Alex.
Oh, you're good. Corbin, interrupt me anytime.
You're just too nice to me, man.
Yeah, I wish Corbin told me that.
The difference is Alex stops talking once in a while.
Yeah, right. True.
No, but like going into a successful business, everyone thinks they can make bags or be good in this business or hop into cornhole because it's blowing up so big. Is it that healthy fear and the preparedness that has helped you guys be so successful?
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
I think that's definitely. I mean, when Alex and I had our first meeting about, hey, let's make a company out of this. It was, we wrote down on a couple of sheets of paper some of the stuff that we just knew that we had to do to not fail, and we've stuck to that. And we don't waver off those. I don't want to say core principles, but I mean, there were 6 things on a sheet of paper. It was like, we've got to make sure we do this. Turn times have to stay within this. Customer service has to stay to this level. And as we've grown, we've been able to manage that
it well, really.
Yeah. And so, that's the biggest thing is, like I said, I mean, that's when people ask about, hey, what can you do? I want to start a bag company. Well, that's great. I agree with you. It's not that anybody can't do it. You just need to make sure you have all your ducks in a row.
Yeah.
Because, it takes one customer or one bad batch of something of a brand new company that you're never getting that customer back.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we've seen that happen. We're not here to call anybody out, but we've seen that happen. Like you make one bad business decision, and like the brand loyalty, it's. I mean, the switch is quick. And I think
it's immediate.
I think it's tough to run a popular business in this space and still always have the highest quality product. Or have people saying this is the highest quality product. And one greedy misstep here and there or something. I mean, you
gotta always be humble.
Yeah,
always be humble, and you never forget where you came from. For sure, absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Now, if we go into, let's play a little hypothetical game here for a sec. If you guys could,
we just had a hypothetical conversation before you guys.
We do a lot of this stuff,
Yeah. So we enjoyed that hypothetical conversation. So let's start this one.
This one's easy, man. No, this one's easy. This is this isn't red pill, blue pill.
There's no money on the line for this one.
No, you guys are good. But I mean, if you guys could start your business, let's say today, knowing everything that that you've had from the last 18 months, would you do anything different, or would you kind of go the way that you've been going?
I know something right off the top of my mouth, but I'm going to let Alex go first. And I'll answer that.
I'm going to say
got something.
I like how we have done it, and I don't know if I would change anyway. But yeah, we've had bumps. We've had mishaps. We've had little things happen. But
you learn from bumps.
You got to have them.
You got to have them.
Yeah.
You got to learn from them, but I wouldn't take away what we have done and how we have done it for the experiences that we've had to change it today. But you can go ahead, Doug.
We should have had a better OG carpet from the jump.
Well, I'll say that too.
Listen, I love that OG carpet.
That's all he threw. I'm not a carpet.
But I have the ability, if I want to throw for 5 hours a day.
Sure.
Sure.
And most people don't. So I love that carpet, but at the end of the day, it's not what I love as a manufacturer. It's what's going to translate into sales and translate into, the customers liking it. And hindsight, that'd be the only thing I change. I wouldn't trade my partner. I wouldn't change our experiences. I wouldn't trade, the 14-hour drives to opens. I wouldn't change it. I mean, but if I had something I could change, I'd say, hey, let's, that carpet should have been different, but
man, it's not a bad carpet. It's just
the name's even better
template's
now.
a little bigger, and it's just
the name's even better now, right?
Yeah, I like it. No, and I will, but
it's a little better.
Me and Corbin talk about this all the time. Is like there's some companies, like if you're a small company that reaches out to us, sometimes we'll respond and say, send us a set that's already fucking destroyed, like the one you're gonna throw away, the shop set. Because we both say this all the time. I will not record a video if the bag I don't feel like is fully broken in, because I don't. That's not fair, right? Because
exactly.
it's like a bag, even like a carpet bag. A carpet bag 10 hours in is not how it's supposed to be. Like that's not what the pros are throwing, right? So
exactly.
But that's such a hard thing to tell people. Like I have people reach out to me like, "Hey, what's your break-in method for carpet?" I said, "How many hours you got?" Because,
times it by 3.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's like, oh yeah, it's getting pretty broken in. I'm like, yeah, 4 more times that, then you'll be all right. Then
you'll be in good shape.
It's just So,
well, as far as the business, since you wouldn't change much, I mean, that's a good thing. I'm going to 2-part this one. What's been the hardest part of this, and what's been the best or most rewarding part?
You want me to take it, or you want to take it?
You take it. I'll fill in later.
The hardest part for us was literally making that leap to be pro stamp this year. I'll be honest with you, we were a non-stamp company that was trying to put every bit of money that we were making back into the company to get infrastructure set up. We had to, scrape money up to get it. I mean, you guys know the process, but anybody that's out there that doesn't know the process, it's not cheap. And there's a chance that they're going to reject your product. There's 55 bag manufacturers for a reason. I think there were over 200 entries this past year. So you're taking a leap of faith. That's that was the biggest fear. The most rewarding for me, and I send my wife a message every open or every national we go to. It totally amazes me when I walk in and I see somebody have a hat on of ours, or a T-shirt, or a hoodie, or a set of bags. I mean, because like I said, we still look at ourselves as 2 guys in East Tennessee trying to make this work. And then we go, we went to every open this year except South Dakota. So we've been all over.
Yep.
And everywhere we go, there's somebody with a Black Sheep Baggers T-shirt on, hat, jersey, and throwing the bags. And it just still to this day, I sit there and I'm like, I cannot believe, that guy's got a set of our bags. You know what I mean? That's the most rewarding part of it, is because, we sometimes we look at it, especially me, I look at it a lot on the business aspect of it. And it's really always nice to sit back and say, man, all of our hard work is paying off. All of our hard work is showing in the field, and seeing those repeat customers time after time, when we start placing, putting orders together, it's like, oh, XYZ, that's their 12th order, and it's like, man, that's awesome. You know what I mean?
We see it for sure. We do see it.
And it's just been amazing. I mean, that's been probably the most rewarding part from me.
Yeah.
I think me and Corbin can relate to that a little bit too, because I don't know if like the weirdest thing for me is when I go to a tournament and I walk up to a board and I said, "Hey, my name's Eddie," and they go, "Yeah, I know who you are. I like your videos." And I'm like,
I watch your videos.
Yeah, exactly.
You're like, okay, cool.
I'm like, I recorded in my backyard, man.
The first thing you say is like, "Oh, you're one of 2." Because that's how I always think. It's like, oh, you're one of the 2 people that's bought a set of bags. And it's like, oh no, but that's just the mindset that we have, and I think that's also what helps us as we, look for other things that we're, coming out with and stuff like that, is we still, we're nowhere near as big as we want to be. But we will always have a very, small-minded company aspect of it.
Never get the big head.
Yeah, never get the big head.
Gotta stay humble, man.
Yeah, we
That's
don't,
like you said, stay humble.
Yeah,
stay humble and do things the right way.
Yeah, we don't brag, or anything like that. When you guys say, "Hey, you guys are, XYZ," to us, we're like, "Thank you," but it's glad that you say it, because we'll never say it.
Yeah.
We just don't look at it that way.
Yeah.
No, I'm the same.
Yep. And with
both of y'all fellows get people coming up to you all the time, I'm sure. Corbin had some in Louisville coming up.
Yeah,
Corbin, he had some.
Dude, I'd say the weirdest thing I've had so far is I did a small run of hats, right? And I walk into a tournament and the first dude I play is wearing my hat, and I'm like, what the, like, why? What are the, like, I'm like, it's weird, man. It's cool, but it's weird.
Well, they support you. You just got to say,
hey, it's awesome.
It's awesome, man.
That's what it is.
That's the reason we do this. We do this because it's like, people tell us all the time, like, oh, we really appreciate what you do. And it's like, so it started as something we just like doing, but now it's like, people actually value this content that we make, or like the people like you guys that we can get on a podcast where it's like, like I hadn't even talked to Doug much before this, and it's like, man, now I'm like we want to go get a beer after this, or I'm saying,
right.
Like, I mean, that's why, and that's why we always look. I mean, we talk to other bag manufacturers where it opens and stuff, and I don't look at any of those guys as competitors, because there's enough market space for all of us.
Yeah.
They're going through the same growing pains that we're going through, or they have went through those growing pains. So that's that's another great thing. The community itself is a great community.
It is,
especially from the bag side. I mean, there's
backside pro players.
Yeah. I mean, it's second to none. I mean, I think that's why this game just keeps growing, is because you don't see a lot of people coming in with this arrogant, you're going to get something like that. But most people are very friendly to the first player they've ever met, the first newbie. And that's why the game keeps growing.
I agree. Yep. And I think that's a good segue into pro players, because obviously you guys got a couple sponsored teams, and you're getting a lot more in the ACL scene, but so with the community and with all that kind of stuff, obviously there's these upper echelon of players, you can just throw money at them or whatever it is. But how do you guys think, and how did you find the players that you think you wanted to represent your brand? Like, what were you looking for, and what do you think that does for the brand long term?
I would say, first off, I want them to love our bags.
Yeah.
I want the individual player to that's the bag they feel confident throwing at any level. And
we've not signed one player to date that hasn't had our bag in their hand, and either reached out to us and said, I like the bag, or something to that effect. I mean, and I think, as a fledgling, as a brand new company, we don't have the $100K to give to XYZ player.
Yeah.
So what we had to do was look and see who was going to be the best at promotion, but more importantly, who could we get that, number one, we could afford, but number two, we could afford and help us grow. I mean, we've got
good people. We want good people. We want good people, not only talented individuals, but we want good people.
Yeah. I mean, Cam Presley and Eric Ryder, finishing ninth at Nationals.
I mean, they're sitting ninth in the world.
Yeah. Those guys, once they bought into us, we, obviously, they took a leap of faith with us, let's just be honest.
For sure. Yeah.
And we love seeing those guys, be successful, and our other teams, they're right up there with them. They're just, it's taking a little bit longer to get started and get up, So I think the biggest thing is brand loyalty. You've got to have brand loyalty. Social media is definitely huge.
So, yeah.
You've got to have social media.
Yeah. If you can be good on social media, that means a lot for sure.
But also, we go to pretty much every event. Yeah. And so, and this is going to sound kind of bad, but if we don't like you, we don't want you on the team, because I don't want you set the side.
I don't. Yeah.
Let's just be honest. I don't want
you to put a black sheep shirt on.
That doesn't sound bad at all.
8 hours and not have anything to talk to you about.
Yeah.
So.
Hey, but you've gone to almost every Open, and then I'm going to Iowa this weekend. You're not even going.
We're not going to Iowa, no. Come to Atlantic City next weekend. We'll see you there.
Dallas, Texas. We'll see y'all in Dallas.
Yeah. I only get one by me a year, okay? I only get one event a year. But and I guess you're talking about social media. I think that's a good thing to segue into, in terms of also, because I think social media is huge for any company in general, because the more people talk about your bags, good or bad, or answering questions at all, is always going to get just your name out there. But how much balance do you think goes into, sponsored player advertising versus social media versus actual marketing versus the event marketing? I mean, obviously it all helps, but is there one that you're like, this is we have to do that? That's the most important part.
So from the business aspect side, I think
sales
reps.
Oh,
really?
We started when we sat down and talked. I mean, I'm from a sales background.
Yep. He's got way more experience in sales than I do. So.
I was like, one of the quickest. We're a new bag cut. Let's think about it. It's at an $80 price point, but some guy in Iowa may not want to buy that bag because he has never felt it. So what's the quickest way to get those bags to a guy in Iowa? Let's have a sales rep in Iowa. And it kind of blew my mind when we started looking, and there wasn't a lot of sales rep programs for bag manufacturers.
No,
and it's it's like, that's just an avenue. Alex runs all of our social media, but if Alex wants to take a day off of social media, we still have 26 sales reps that are out there.
And some of them are getting better at it than I am.
Yeah.
I'll tell you.
And they're plugging away every day as well. You know what I mean?
I see them all the time.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And I think that's the biggest thing that, I'm not saying all bag manufacturers start a sales program, obviously, but I mean,
it might not be a bad way to start.
But that's definitely a way to get your product in people's hands. I mean, even we're going to opens, but we're not going to Salt Lake City, or we're not going to Sacramento or Reno, Nevada. We have to have a sales rep there to build our brand. And we've been very fortunate. I mean, we got some great sales reps. Yeah, we don't. Really great ones. We turn down just as many people as we agree to, because there has to be a certain type of person that we're looking for. We have a national sales director, Abe Sherwood, that runs them through a rigorous application process. Yeah. And once we know that they're there, I mean, we've got sales reps now saying, "Hey, I need to know where we'll buy a canopy." And it's like, "What are you talking about?" They're like, "We want a black sheep canopy because we're going to start setting up at events." And it's like, well, that's we'll give them a card and some numbers. Those canopies aren't cheap. They're not cheap, but they're just as invested as we are.
It goes back to sometimes I felt like, they believe in the brand.
Yeah.
They believe in the Black Sheep company, and it's just
it's amazing, absolutely amazing.
Really, it's not just us; it's other individuals that believe in Black Sheep Daggers for sure.
So if you're taking notes out there, sick designs, sales rep, brand loyalty, customer service. Come on, maybe service. A canopy. You gotta have a
canopy. There's a lot. Talk maybe a partner. You might need a partner to bounce ideas off each other. We're really good at that.
Never hurts.
Yeah. But then I guess
it doesn't take one individual, that's for sure.
Oh yeah. And with events, like, what do you think, coming from maybe playing in the background, what do you think is the biggest difference from going to an event as like a brand owner, where you gotta, always be positive, you gotta be talking a lot, you gotta be making relationship, versus like a player, spectator, like where it's like just a lot less. I mean, how is that transition to changing in that, and like what do you think is the biggest like change when you just from player to brand owner?
Well, I mean, I think the biggest thing is as a bag owner or a bag company owner, is you have to realize when that person comes up to ask the question,
you know what they're trying to.
More
understand them.
You want to make sure they're getting 100% of your attention.
Yeah, sure.
Because to you, it's in your mind you may say, "Oh, this is just a transaction," but to them,
no,
they may think that it's the most insider information that they're getting. You know what I mean? Yeah. And so I think that's how a lot of the stuff that we built was that way. When we talk to everybody, we try to talk to them. We probably talk to them more than they want to talk to us.
Before somebody buys a set of Costello, if we're at an event, somebody wants to buy a set of Costellos that never tried them, or possibly they hadn't tried them, whether it's Costellos, Blackwaters, OG2s, new Vandalize. In Kansas City, I wanted people to throw those, but we couldn't, of course. But we'll give them our personal sets. Yeah. Hey, go throw them. If you like them, if you don't, we understand. And most of the time they come back and they say they like them.
The funniest thing,
that's a good thing.
When we hand a set of bags to people, they'll be digging in their wallet. They're like, you need my ID? And it's like, hey, man, I've got to trust you a little bit if you're going to trust to buy something from me. You know what I mean? I'm going to see you over the next 2 days. We're in a close environment.
Doug sold his personal sets before.
Yeah, I've sold my personal sets.
There's a couple of sets that mean a lot to me, so I can't. They come to us and want our personal sets, and like, hey, these come out like 8 months ago. These are perfect. I don't know if I can do that.
Yeah, right. You want to talk about people trying it, man. It's like, so I just dug in my bag because I wanted to show the orange ones that you guys gave Corbin. Yeah, I forgot my buddy's using it at regionals.
I mean, that's it. I mean, it's once a set of bags gets broken in perfectly and you feel confident with that bag, that's all. It's hard. A lot of even our pro players have done that. Trent's done that. I mean, Trent Bertlow's reached out and said, "Hey, I gave this set of bags away, and I've got a new set of Blackwaters because he's a Blackwater thrower, and he's like, these aren't the same as I wish I would have never done this.
Yeah, oh yeah.
But then he'll get a setback after he throws them a little bit. It's all about being confident in that bag. And once you get something broken in, and that you feel confident in, I wouldn't get rid of them.
Oh, any set that me and Corbin have nuked, me and Corbin both say this. Any set that we've gotten to the point that it's nuked, it ain't going nowhere because it's finally good enough.
There's no price tag on that.
No. We say it's funny all the time that used bags sell for cheaper than new bags. Because I'm like that you should charge for that.
It should be way more.
Absolutely.
That 6 months of hard throwing.
Right?
Your time's worth something.
I know.
Get a little dirt on them. Get a little this.
Little hand oils in them. It kicks in, man.
Yeah, it makes a difference for sure.
So what's the big, maybe what you've seen the last 8 months of projecting in the future? Like, where do you see the sport going? Like, do you see like this infinite like line where it could be growing? Like, maybe you don't see, like, you didn't think it would be as now, or you thought it would be 8 months ago, but like, where are you guys seeing this going?
It's a great game. I see it. Hopefully it gets in the Olympics. That's USA Cornhole. Hopefully they get in the Olympics and it keeps growing from there, and it's going to get bigger and bigger.
Dude, if this game gets in the
anybody
Olympics,
can play. So you don't have to be 6'5". You don't have to be 6'5", 250 pounds, be a tremendous athlete. You can be anybody and play this game and take it to another and be the best at it. You don't have to be – it don't matter your size, your athletic ability. I mean, you put the time in, you can the sky's the limit. I'll say that.
Dude, the greatest thing that I tell people is that Damon Dennis is like a top 10 player and Alex Hicks is a top 10 player. And it's like 12 versus like whatever Damon is, 60 something,
60
70.
something. Yeah.
It's like,
I mean, you also got to look at, because like I say, I look at a lot of analytics and statistics. I mean, they're saying between 12 and 15,000 new players a month find the game.
Wow.
Now that's the guy that just found the game. That's not anybody that's investing any money. That's, hey, I went to a bar and there's cornhole boards out there and they start throwing. So let's just think if the retention rate is 10% every month, that's growing exponentially. And that's how I look at it is, if you get 10%, even 5% of those people to stay, and, Kansas City Open had, I think, over 600 players. You know what I mean? They're only going to get bigger. The Virginia Beach Open this past year was over, I think, 600 players. And then the organizer there wants to have 1,200 players next year.
Yeah.
I mean,
Kansas City was probably our best Open we've been to because there was such a high level of competitive and intermediate players. There wasn't a ton of pros there. No. There wasn't a ton of pros, but it was probably one of the most populated ACL events, and it was just competitive and intermediate. And I threw with a bunch of them. Threw with a bunch of players like that, and it just.
But yeah, like I said, I mean,
that's wild to us. That was probably our best, one of our most successful Opens that we felt like as growing, as far as a area growing the sport like it should be growing.
But yeah, I mean, let's look at it, from like your all's followers. You're gathering more followers every day, every month. Mm-hmm. And we still say we're late to the game, but when we say we're late to the game, we're not even halfway up the mountain yet. We're nowhere near peaking out yet. No. And so I think as it grows, the ACL does a really good job of tasking us with helping grow cornhole, and let's do the same thing with the pros. Grow the game. And as long as we continue to have that mindset, I think the sky's the limit.
Yeah. I mean, you want to talk about new people coming into the game. Like, I made a video 4 months back on how to throw the bag flat, right? Like, we do all our reviews, you do podcast stuff, but just how to make the bag flat. To this day, every day gets 200 views per day. Every day. 4 straight months. Like, every single day, 200 views. It's just because it's like every person's like, that's the first question. Oh, how do I throw it flat?
Exactly.
But it's 200 new people every day that just.
They come from throwing I call it a saw blade to a
saw blade. or the head over heels when you grip it like a ball.
Hey, that's how I used to pinch the corner. and saw blade it down the down.
Hey, so you were a game changer thrower? Is that what you're saying?
Back in the day. Back in the day,
that's a successful strategy right there. The saw blade game changer.
Hey, it happens. Leave little landmines all over the board. Yeah. Mess with people even today. Even the best players it can.
Little landmines. I like that. Well,
gotta go in with those landmines all over.
So you see where the future of the sport's going. Obviously, sky's the limit. Like, where do you see? Like, what is your guys' goals for Black Sheep? Like, obviously, I mean, you could say you want to be the biggest company, you want to be like, but like, you know, what does the future look like for you guys? Like, from what you've seen to what now? Like, what are your aspirations right now?
Continue working on infrastructure. You know, we like I said, we just had a meeting prior to you guys coming on. I mean, you know, we're looking forward to growing our player base.
Mm-hmm. We talked.
Yeah, and you know, like I say, I mean, every day is something R&D purposes. I mean, if it's researching a material or touching a material or something. I mean, so you know, we're the next thing on our horizon is, you know, what's the next bag that we're going to come out. We've already kind of got the next one, but what's the next one? You know, what's the next material that's going to hit, or what are we projecting to be the next material that may hit? Yeah. And so, you know, with us, it's, you know, like I said, just trying to grow every day is our biggest thing, you know, is to not take that step back, you know, to make tomorrow better than today.
Yeah. Think about the big picture a lot, but then we also take it day by day.
Yeah.
So we think about here, but we also,
like I said, at the end of the day,
day by day. You can't put too much on each other.
Yeah.
You know?
We still think we're just a small company in East Tennessee.
Yep, absolutely. You know, so. We do. We don't feel any bigger than we were 8 months ago.
Yeah,
I mean, we don't. And it blows our mind sometimes when things get thrown at us, like, oh my gosh.
But I think that's good. I think the instant you think you're a big company, that's when stuff happens.
Yeah, just like anything, you can't do that.
No,
you gotta stay loyal to your roots. I guess that's a good way to put it.
Then, you guys do the things the right way. Like, I mean, like I don't think I've ever heard anything negative about anything Black Sheep, literally ever. I mean, it's always positive. Like, you know, whether or not people are buying the bags or trying the bag. In my opinion, if you're not throwing Costellos, it's because you haven't tried Costellos. But that's just what I tell them. You know, because
they're good bags.
You guys know that's like all I throw. So
hey, exactly. They're good, man.
But any shout outs you guys want to give? Anything you want to talk about coming up, or like, you know, give yourself guys some time, a little PR for yourselves?
You'll take it first, and I'll go.
What was it? Say that again.
These ones don't shout outs or any information.
Any shout outs?
Well, yeah, shout outs to anybody or anything you want to talk about. Give you some time if you want to.
In Atlantic City, I hope Eric Ryder and Cam Presley get on ESPN. I hope they do it.
Yeah.
We'll do that. All of our pro players. Yeah. I mean, Draven Sneed, Derek Fatiguer.
Lori Dole will be throwing in Super Hole.
There you go. Lori Dole will be. Yep.
Awesome. What about you?
Man, I want to give a shout out to our sales team because they absolutely kill it every day. Mm-hmm. They go above and beyond for us. So we're very grateful for that. I want to give a shout out to all of our pro players for, like I say, believing in us early on. Mm-hmm. And, for the people, you know, the pro players that we talk to on a day-to-day basis that, you know, that give us the time of day. You know, I want to give that. And then obviously to my family, because like I said, we're gone a lot. We work crazy hours. And the wife and kids support that. And so that's the big thing for me. And then obviously, you know, the guy sitting beside me, I couldn't do it without him. So if I can't give him a shout out, I can't give anybody one. So I'm going to give you a shout out too.
Alex is like, screw him. You got somebody you want to shout out.
And hey, I got a funny story real quick before we leave. So I talked to Corbin very early on, and I was like, hey, I'm gonna send you this. He's like, no, I'm gonna buy it. I'm like, no, I'm just gonna send it to you. You know, you're helping me out in the long run. You're helping us out in the long run. And I have a tendency of saying yes, sir, and no, sir, a lot in conversation.
Yes, you do.
And Corbin's like, are you in the military? I'm like, no, but my dad, you know, raised me to say that. and so it was just funny that like I said, he was like, all you ever say is yes, sir, and no, sir. So it's funny to see how Corbin has grown, and obviously you came on board. And like I said, that's what this sport's about is getting people that love the game to find other avenues to express themselves in the game. And so I want to give you guys a shout out as well.
You want? And I got a quick story for you then before we leave. So I was getting into basically I come from I'm a millennial, so I get into bags. I'm like, all right, well, I'll get on YouTube. Like, there's so many freaking bags to buy, and the only person reviewing bags is Corbin, right? So I just come to a couple of his videos and buy a set of bags, and I'm like, you know what, I could do that. Like, I just want more information out there. So I started making I make like 2 videos, and then I reach out to Corbin, and I was like, hey, like, ask you some questions, like, how do you do this, blah, blah, blah. And we talk for, I don't know, like 8 hours or something, like a whole day. And then we talk about bags, and he's like, here, I'm going to send you these Costellos to try. And I was like, are you sure, man? I was like, oh my God, like, what? He sends me the Costellos to try. To this day, we would not be sitting here doing this if he didn't send me pre-stamped orange Costellos. So, I mean, it's just, it all comes full circle,
Yes, sir.
I wouldn't mind throwing those pre-stamped Costellos.
Cheat codes, bro. Cheat codes. I tell people all the time, I'm like, man, I gotta get some more Costellos broken in, because when I can't use a no stamp bag next year, man, I'm like, these things are my babies, man. Like,
you definitely got one up on me for sure. I don't have a pre-stamped Costello. We gave him. I had a really good set. I have pre-stamped, hadn't been thrown, of course, but I have had a couple good sets, and we ended up giving. Was it Lenny Barnes? I think it was Lenny Barnes. He wanted to try them out, and Doug talked me in. I was like, all right, he can have them. And I kind of wish I didn't. But then Lenny said, hey, you want it back? I said, no, brother.
It's the only set of bags that I have that I like, because I same with you guys, like, oh, if I want to, you should buy Costellos, here, try mine. And they go through them, and they're like, oh, how much for those? I was like, no shot.
No.
So I'm just the total opposite. So we were talking earlier here at the office, and I went over to the bag room, and I'm like, hey, I need to get, a set of Costellos, a set of Blackwaters, because I'm going on a trip this weekend. And because I give everything away. I literally do. I mean, it seems like right as soon as I get them broke in, somebody locks them, like, oh, you can have them, or I go to a blind draw, and somebody's like, well, I don't have the money to buy a set of Costellos. It's like, oh, well, here's some Project Unbreakables that are money for me right now, but you can have them. And so Alex tells me all the time, he's like, you've got to have a set of Costellos at your house. I'm like, dude, I do not have a set in my bag. I don't have a set at the house.
Well, there's a couple back here that he had at one time. Yeah. So there's a red Jason Costello back there that never got released. He had another set. We almost went red Jason Costello.
Give him away.
He don't even have a pre-stamped Miami Vice.
Nope, that's
back there. That was our first limited edition bag. He didn't have one.
Me and Corbin do a lot of giveaways. I don't know where they went, but we do a lot of giveaways. They ain't going nowhere, man. That's the only. I was like,
we always want to. Yeah, we love doing giveaways.
Every bag's for sale.
I just think to me, it's just like you see that girl that's at a blind draw or an open with her boyfriend, and she's like, I just want a set of bags for myself, but he won't buy me a set. Or I don't have the money to buy them. Well, hey, here's you a set. I've put a lot of miles on.
They'll remember that for sure.
Here's you a set. But then I get home, and like I say, I'm going on a trip, and I'm like, hey, I got to get a bunch of bags, try to break them in over the next 3 days because I'm leaving to go out of town. It's crazy.
We got a lot of giveaway bags that aren't pre-stamped orange Costellos.
No doubt.
You're never gonna convince me otherwise, man. They ain't going nowhere. But well, man, I really appreciate you guys hopping on. This was a really fun episode. I think a lot of good insight, and I think you guys are doing everything the right way. Anybody obviously try the OG1, try out the OG2. Corbin literally, I'm not just saying this because the recording's live. He literally doesn't shut up about the freaking OG2 like all the time. It's just he loves it that much.
That's true.
The Vandalize, I think that
we released it just because of Corbin loved it. That's the only reason.
Only reason. No one else liked it, but Corbin's like this.
I loved it.
Yeah. And then Vandalize. Check out the Vandalize launch this morning. Awesome designs, and I think that those material combos are going to be making waves this year by everybody, but make sure you check them out for sure. So, really appreciate you guys stopping in. Really fun episode to record. And I'm sure we're going to be talking to you guys plenty much in the future. And Doug, now that we talk more, now we got to hang out. I'm talking to Alex all the time on the phone. I'm like, damn. I'm like, oh, here's Doug. I was like, maybe he just doesn't like talking. It's like, no.
No doubt.
For all the listeners, listening in. Appreciate you guys sticking around for 21 episodes, which is mind blowing. But hope you guys have a great day and rest of your week, and hope you all guys have a really nice day as well. So thanks everybody for listening, and we'll catch you guys later.
Thank you for having us.
See you guys.
See y'all.
Thanks.